Well, hello everybody. Thank you guys for watching yesterday. It was nice to get all the feedback that I got and get some encouragement to keep going. I still feel awkward like I'm leaving a message on an answering machine, but hopefully I will get more comfortable and start feeling less awkward as time goes on. So I'm actually down in Tom's office tonight because he's upstairs watching something on the TV, and it's so loud that when I tried recording up there, it sounded like I was having a conversation with the guy on the TV. So I snuck down here into his office, and hopefully it'll stay a little quieter. Nobody will find me in here. So I guess the big excitement around our house today is the fact that tomorrow is our last day of school before we take a week off for spring break. So we always start school on the first Thursday after fall starts, and then we go 12 weeks, take off for Christmas, and then go 12 weeks and have a spring break, and then go 12 more weeks and then have summer break. So we actually don't finish school until the end of June usually, unless they get their schoolwork done early, and then they get to get out early. But everyone's super excited about that, and it kind of went a little odd this year because normally we would have had spring break this past week, but I took an extra week at Christmas, so that pushed it a little further back. So it's just coming up, and we also, it's strange, but I consider our school week to go from Thursday through Wednesday, so we actually have our weekend in the middle of the week, which is a little strange, but that's how I do it. So tomorrow is the last day, and everyone's working super hard to get things done, and I'm excited because I have so many videos that I have taken the video for, but I haven't had time to edit them. So I'm really hoping that during this week off from school that I can get a bunch of those done. So I don't know. I always have good intentions, and then stuff happens, and I will have to see if it really pans out like that. But that is my goal, so I am super excited about that. The kids, of course, are just looking forward to having time off to play computer games and Minecraft and all that kind of stuff. So we are happy about that. But poor little Miss Eden has been sad because she yesterday didn't get her schoolwork completely done because she's in first grade this year, and she's doing subtraction, like 18 minus 9, and she's doing those pages of math, and it's like freaking her out, I guess. And so she hasn't been getting stuff done, and yesterday she wasn't. So that meant today she had extra work to do, and we always go on an adventure after lunch, and she didn't get to go with us today because she hadn't finished her schoolwork, so she had to stay home with Thomas, and it was really sad leaving her behind. So we'd stop by the grocery store because the boys wanted to get something, so Judah got her some suckers, which was nice. I thought that was really sweet. And when we got home, she met us on the porch, and Judah's like, "Oh, that looks so sad," because she was, watching for us to come home, and I felt really bad. So I'm glad she got all caught up tonight, and tomorrow she just has a few tests to take, and then a time off, and so she'll be much happier then. And I'm glad that she got that all caught up. And then Solly was sad today because while we were on our adventure, we went to a different park than we normally do, and that is neither here nor there. That didn't matter to what happened. But while we were there, he somehow bonked his lip, and he got a big fat lip, and it was all cut on the bottom here, and he looked pretty sad and pathetic, and it was pitiful. We were also excited while we were at that park, since it's not one we normally go to see that they had willow trees growing around it, and that's one of the things that we have been studying. We're trying to learn all the trees in our town, and so we decided to start with evergreens because those ones are easy to identify year-round. And now we've been moving on to trees that lose their leaves during the winter and trying to learn how to identify what they look like without their leaves. And willow is the one that we've been watching for, so that was pretty exciting to see lots of willow trees around that park today. We actually also drove around that whole neighborhood, and the kids were shouting out well, that's a pine or it's juniper or that's a elm tree. And so that was fun to see, because even though I've seen these trees growing up my entire life, we all probably have, I still didn't necessarily confidently know which trees were which. And so it's been fun for me to learn them, and they're definitely doing a good job learning them. So that was fun to have that little adventure today. Something else unusual that happened today was that big flock of turkeys, or whatever, I don't know what you call a group of turkeys, but a big flock of turkeys came walking down our street today, which I believe is only the third time I've ever seen turkeys by our house. So that was pretty exciting. I just happened to glance out the window and I saw all these turkeys just trotting down the street. So I started yelling at everybody, go look out the window. And so we all got to go out and see them, and I got a picture of them, and caused a little excitement around here. I actually made myself a note of the things today that I wanted to talk about, so that I wouldn't feel like I was just aimlessly wandering in my mind and trying to think of what to say. So that's why I keep glancing down here, because my note's down here. But, okay. Oh, yes, I was going to tell you about our park bench. So yesterday, I think I mentioned that we had ordered a park bench to take to the park by our house because there wasn't one. And I don't recall there ever being one. I've been playing there since I was a little kid, and there's never been one there. So I'm not sure what other people did in the past, but I would always carry my camping chair along with us when we were going to play there, or I just sit on the grass, which a lot of the time was fine, but sometimes the ground is kind of wet or whatever, and it's not even nice grass, it's like weeds. So anyways, it was a week or two ago I ordered a park bench. So yesterday it came, I think it was, and then today we went ahead and we put it together, and then we carried that up to the park and got it all set up nice. And we noticed that there's always stuff left behind at the park, like mostly socks and gloves and things like that. And so I had wanted to set up some sort of a lost and found system. So last week when I went shopping, I kept looking around for some sort of a basket that would work, that would be like weather resistant and nice and could serve as a lost and found. So I was in the clearance aisle at Walmart, and I saw this basket that was meant to go on a bike. It was like a little Hello Kitty thing, and it was really hard plastic, and so I bought that. And today we cut the little Hello Kitty off, and then it already had the little straps, so we just strapped that to the bench. And then the boys ran around the park and picked up all the stuff that we saw laying around that had gotten left behind, and we put it in there. And I also wrote on it, so just in case anyone was not sure what it was, we wrote lost and found right there on it, and got it all set up. And now we have a nice little spot to sit when we go to the park, so I'm pretty excited about that. Mr. Solly, he was, well, let's see, Asher, Judah, and Justice, they all helped put the thing together. They did the Allen wrench and the other little wrench and got all the screws in. And then Mr. Solomon, he was really happy because he got to put they had little plastic screw caps to cover all the screws, and he was feeling very, very big and responsible getting to help us out with that project today. And I feel like I'm just rushing through my list of things to tell you about, but I will get better, I promise. I'll keep working on it, and I won't be too fast one of these days, and I won't feel awkward one of these days. So you're just going to bear with me, and I'm going to appreciate the fact that you watch, even though I feel so silly when I'm talking to you and I'm not doing a very good job. But anyways, so the other thing I wanted to tell you guys about was that Solomon apparently peed in the trash can in my bedroom today. I have no idea what would possess him to do that. He has been potty trained for like, I don't know, 3 months or so now. And he's been amazing. So I was really nervous about potty training him, because with our first son, he was not terrible, but he wasn't super easy to potty train. And then our second son was like a cinch. I showed him how to go potty one day, and we put underwear on him, and pretty much that was it. And then our third son came, and it was an unpleasant situation. He did fine with peeing on the potty, but he would not poop on the potty. And for 6 months, he wouldn't poop on the potty, and it was terrible. But we finally made it through that. And then our fourth son, he was I don't even want to go into how difficult he was sometimes. We're good with him now, but it took a long time with him. So when Solomon came along, I'm like, oh, I do not want to potty train him. And so I kind of put it off, especially because I'd been pregnant and all that, and I just thought, oh, I'll just, when after the baby comes and everything, we'll do it. And then it was like after, after Christmas, that's where it ended up. It ended up being after Christmas, I will potty train him. So that is what happened. I guess it was over Christmas break that I potty trained him. And he was the same way as my second son. He was just so easy. I showed him how, and he did have 2 accidents, and that was it, and he was good. So I am so surprised. I don't know why he would decide today that he should just go ahead and pee in the trash can for some reason, but he did. So I walked in my room and I thought, what is that smell? That doesn't smell like something that should be in here. And so then I found out what had happened, and so he spent a little time cleaning the trash can today, and Justice helped him because Justice likes to be a helper. So they cleaned that out together, and that was one of those interesting things that happen sometimes when you are a mother. Tonight, today's Tuesday, so normally at our house Tuesday means game night, so we always have Taco Tuesday, and we play games on Tuesday night. Hello? Somebody must be looking for me and then think I'm not in here because I'm so close to the counter. I'm really hoping to make these videos without having to edit them because it takes so long. So they found me. No, you guys need to go lay down in your own beds, okay? Close the door. Anyways, so the exciting thing about Taco Tuesday was that Justice ate hamburger, which he for several years has been very difficult to get to eat meat, which is, I think, very weird because everyone else in our family loves meat. But would you please shut the door because I'm making a video right now, okay? Anyways, I don't know what possessed him, but it was a couple of days ago he ate. He's kind of a little bit been eating chicken lately, and then he ate some steak the other day, and he liked that. And then I think yesterday he ate the little hamburger I made him. That was like the first time probably in several years, probably 3 years, that he's eaten a hamburger. And he decided he liked it, so tonight he had hamburger with his taco, and he normally for the last several years on Taco Tuesday he would have a peanut butter and jelly on a tortilla because he didn't want to have meat. And so I was very, very happy that he's finally deciding that maybe meat isn't so disgusting. He would get like nauseous when we would make him eat meat. If we'd make him take a bite of something, he would literally want to throw up and get himself all worked up over it. Yes, pal.
I don't want to go upstairs.
Okay, when I'm done making my video, then I'll come help you, okay?
Yes, but baby, not
Okay, I'll come take care of it in a few more minutes, alright?
okay.
Can you shut the door?
I'll just do it now.
Thank you. They're all supposed to be in bed, but clearly that's not happening because this is how it is. You think you send them to bed, and then they keep coming back, and they keep coming back, and they keep coming back, but oh well. The bummer tonight that I've discovered was that I went to make tortillas, and I realized I needed more salt, and so I sent one of the boys down to the pantry, and we got a box that had the new bags of salt, I thought, in it that I had ordered, but it turns out when I ordered last time, instead of getting the fine Celtic sea salt, I had actually bought the light gray Celtic sea salt, which is like bigger rock kind of chunk things. And so I had to get out the mortar and pestle and grind up the salt so that I could use it. And that means I also had to order more salt. So I went ahead and did that because I need salt. We use a lot of salt. So I guess in the meantime, I'm just going to have to keep either grinding it or go to the grocery store and buy something different. But I'll probably just grind it unless Tom complains too much because he's already a little iffy about using the sea salt because it's not as fine as like the stuff you get at the grocery store. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But, so tonight is supposed to be game night, but the boys and Tommy wanted to watch something that was going to be live on YouTube tonight, and this is something that they've never done before, but they saw that this was going to be happening tonight, and so they'd scheduled it a couple weeks ago to remind them to get on and watch it. So we canceled game night, and they watched their video. Actually, that's what was still playing when I started trying to make this video, and it was too loud. So I came down here, and here we are. So yes, so no game night tonight. Normally we have game night every Tuesday night, and then we have a little basket of like Lego minifigures, and there's all sorts of other little minifigure things that we give away as a prize, so whoever wins gets the prize. But no prize to be had tonight, except for I guess that they're getting to run around and stay up a little bit later than normal, so I guess that's kind of a prize. But oh, my Greek lesson. That was the last thing I wanted to talk about, was my Greek lesson. So while the kids were doing their schoolwork this morning, I was doing Greek like I normally do, and I've been having so much fun doing it that I actually worked on it some more this afternoon, even though I should have been doing some other probably more productive things like cleaning the pantry. Really needs it very badly, but I did not do that, and instead I worked a little bit more on Greek. But I wanted to tell you about two of the words that I learned today, and it was really exciting because it just makes so many sparks fly in my mind of ideas and things that I learned. And I told you yesterday that I have been working on Revelation 20 because I'm trying to understand the whole millennium thing, like what that all is. And so the first word, I finished verse 2, so it's going to take me a while. I've been working on, it took me like a week to do verse 1, and probably going to take me, maybe a week per verse. Maybe I'll get faster, and we'll see. But anyway, so the first word I want to tell you about was Satanas, which is the word for Satan. It's like Satan's name. And the other way that we hear it is like the accuser or the deceiver kind of an idea is what people will say. But I was super interested in the fact that it's related to the word measure. Like in some of the Gospels, the related word is used like it's a measure of barley, like you're actually measuring something out. And that was really interesting to me because something that I have talked about with my kids so many times, and I'm like, and here it is, it's right here, but that there are two ways of measuring things. There's the physical way where, what brought to mind Samuel, when God sent Samuel to anoint Saul king, and it was after Saul was king. It was when he went to anoint David king, when he decided that when Saul sinned and he wasn't going to be the king, then he sent Samuel back to go anoint one of Jesse's sons king, but Samuel didn't know which son it was going to be, so he had David bring all of his sons up, and he's going through the sons, and he's looking at like the tallest, handsomest one, and God tells Samuel that man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. And eventually, actually David wasn't even there, and they had to bring David in from the field, and God tells Samuel, this is the one that I want. And we know later that David was a man after God's own heart. And so that's a concept that the kids and I talk about all the time, is how you measure things, that you can measure God's way, which is the spirit, what's going on inside, or you can measure Satan's way, I guess you would say, on the outside of looking at the physical world and trying to get things from the world. Instead of refining who you are, you're focused on the outward things. And what was I thinking? I've lost my train of thought there for a moment. I had an example in mind. Oh, it was this. It was something that I always encourage Tom with. When he has a bad day and comes home and he feels like, he put in a lot of work and maybe for whatever reason, he didn't bill the person that he worked for because he was learning something new and he didn't feel like he should charge them for the time it took him. Or frequently, just this happened yesterday, that it's a little old lady who just is struggling and he doesn't want to charge her, so he doesn't. And sometimes he'll feel a little discouraged, like, man, I worked all day and I didn't make any money. And I always encourage him that that's not the point. The point isn't, we don't measure things that way. We don't measure by how much money we come home with in our pocket. We measure it God's way, which is God says to work and he provides. And so that's what we do. It's not, we don't have to think so hard about how much we're getting, or that we have to make things happen, or that something only has value if money exchanges hands, or how many things you have matters. And so it was just interesting, I guess, to me to pair those two ideas together, that Satanas is related to the idea of measuring, and also that he measures us, Satan does, in the wrong way. He's the accuser and the deceiver and a liar, and he measures us in an incorrect way. And if we fall for it, if we fall for his ideas, that we start measuring things the wrong way also. And I personally believe that Satan is already destroyed, but how I reconcile that idea of, because for a lot of people it's hard to think, well, if Satan is no longer here, which I believe that's what was happening, part of what happened with the events surrounding the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD, but if Satan's not here, why is there still evil in the world, and why do people still do bad things? And I think it's because, well, it makes me think of Revelation, and that Jesus said that there are those who called themselves Jews, but they weren't. They were a synagogue of Satan. Or he called the Pharisees a brood of vipers, which Satan was the serpent, or the ophni. I learned that word. Yeah, that's the right way to say it. I learned that word today too, so that's exciting. But anyways, that they, that I guess here, my point is that we all have free will. And whether or not he is still around, we all still can either follow his path or the true right path, and his path leads to destruction, just like it did for him, or God's path leads to life, just like it did for Jesus. And so even though I believe Satan is not actually here anymore, I still believe people have the same ability. I believe people are evil. They can be evil. They can do evil things and have an evil heart, and then they can choose. They have that free will to continue down that path or to not continue down that path. They have their choice of which way they want to measure the world, which way they want to measure themselves, and which way they want to measure other people too. So yeah, so that was one of my words. My other word was planon. And that word, it's in the English translation that when I was checking later to see if I was on the right track or not, the English translation translates it as, that's where the word deceive comes from, deceiver. But the other idea or other word it could be is wander. And that was just really interesting to me, that being deceived is like wandering, like you are trying to be on a path, but you've been deceived, and so you're wandering off some other direction. You're going off and measuring things the wrong way. And so just that idea that being deceived is wandering, and the deceiver is the wanderer, just like Satan wandered to and fro, that kind of a thing. It was just very fascinating to me. So there are some ideas that I'm going to throw out there for you to think about if you want to. And I suppose it's been 25 minutes already, so I guess I'm getting used to talking, and I'm going to go ahead and shut this thing down now, and we will talk to you again tomorrow.